Sweet, we're live and we're back after a couple weeks break, but my friend Heather here has joined me on our season finale. So people are like, season finale?
I know. I did not know that.
Yeah, so life happens.
So special.
Yeah, life happens, but we decided to take a little bit of a break for the summer, regroup, bring some new energy, and I think we're going to bring a new look to things come the fall, but I'm really excited to have you on the last show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
A little nervous, but I got this. Like
Yeah.
I need to do this. Like I was called to do this. And
Yeah,
it's
you
funny,
are.
like quick story if you don't mind.
Mhm,
Real quick.
absolutely.
Like when you messaged in our like past life group, if anyone wanted to come on the show, and like right after we ended our sessions, I was like, I'm gonna be on that show one day. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna step out of my comfort zone and I'm gonna get on there with him and I'm gonna talk about my journey. And my fingers just started typing at you in the chat, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is happening. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I hit send and I'm like, I just did that. What is going on here? That's totally like, this is out of my comfort zone 100%.
That's goosebump stuff when you talk about
Right?
that's
I had
reminds
to do it.
me. Yeah, see, that reminds me so much of like the time where I was pulled to jump into going to train for hypnosis. Like it's a wild
Yeah.
story. And it's the same thing. It was like, no. I got to do this. I remember reaching out to the guy, reaching out to Jen. And then within like 2 days I was registered and I was like, what just happened?
Yeah. It's one of those moments like, what did I just sign up for?
Yeah, no,
But I felt that pull, and like, I sent it at 5:55 too. And I'm like, okay, it's happening. It's like,
how do you, well, and I think you even said it too, is like, I don't know what just happened, but I felt I was going to do it. And here I am just saying I'm in.
yeah, this is happening. So
Yeah.
here I am.
Super stoked. Well, that's awesome. Let's start by just maybe telling us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
Okay. Sure. I am a single mom to, like what I told Joey, a small army of 4. My oldest is 14. My youngest is 2. So I am extremely, extremely busy doing that life. But I also have like little side hustles here and there. I'm fortunate enough to stay at home and work to raise my kids too. So that's like a blessing.
Absolutely.
And my like main job that I do, I actually am a PA for a USA Today bestseller romance author. So I do all her not all of them, but her graphics, marketing stuff, just the back end of everything for her. So that's my main like source.
Come on, I had no idea. This is so cool.
Yeah, you don't know it.
No.
So yeah, I'm divorced, obviously, because I'm single. So I went through that whole journey of that, and it kind of catapulted me into the whole spiritual awakening thing and finding myself, because, you know, if anyone's a mom, you know how much you lose yourself and you become just that wife or just that mother, and there's like no you. So just that's pretty much it about it. Like, I'm just on this journey, and like I'm after like inspiring other women or empowering them to, you know, speak their truth and their voice, and just know that they're not alone going through this. So I'm very open and raw and vulnerable. Anytime I talk to anyone about my journey or my divorce or anything, I'm 100% open with them, and, you know, kind of tell them like what I went through, and maybe it helps them too to know that they are not alone, and it's okay to feel this way or that way, and how I kind of got through it too helps empower women that way.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Like, you know, we look at other creators. Well, I know I did anyway, when I first kind of got on social media, maybe not first got on, but when I first started thinking about like telling my story or, you know, helping people, because I knew I remember it was like 5 or 6 years before I ended up quitting my job. I was like, I just want to help people.
Yeah.
I want to do something cool. I almost went to be like, I was going to go see about chiropractic. I was, you know, I had a few other ideas. I'm like, how do I help people? And then you get into it and you're like, okay, well, and you start being open about stuff and you start to realize, holy shit, like that really helped so-and-so, or at least they said, wow, you know what? Thanks for sharing that. And you're like, wait, I can actually have a pretty big impact here.
Right. And it also helps you. It's like therapeutic to you too, to get it out. So it's also like helping people, but it's also helping you. So that's that's kind of where I'm at with it. And that's why I'm so open about everything.
So you talked about your kind of like your spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like a lot of us? Was it a really dark time for you?
Oh yeah. I didn't know it at the time. Like it was a little like backstory on it. Right after my divorce, like it was a fine divorce, but under the circumstances of what happened, and my heart was just torn out of my chest. Like it was just ripped out and like, pardon my French, but like shit on. That's where I was. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I didn't have a job pretty much, you know, just little things here and there. My life just got flipped upside down completely. And like a month after our divorce was final, that's when I hit rock bottom, like just darker than dark. We were up north. I had my kids with me up north with my two brothers, and there's like this busy road there, and there's a beach on the other side, and then there's the house we were staying at. So you had to cross the busy road to get to the house. So we're walking, and my kids were up in front of me with my brothers, and I'm just walking alone. And this is when it hit me that I was not okay. Like it's just like this out of body experience that I had is like, I'm just walking along this busy road. There's cars like flying by at 60 miles an hour. And I stopped and I just remember like not being in myself, I guess, and just watched myself step in front of traffic. It was, yeah. Like I haven't shared the story with hardly anyone. So
wow.
That was my like breaking point where I'm like, you know what? Something has to change here. And I think that's when I started like going into like the whole spiritual awakening thing and like being like, you know, you need to take care of yourself, the self-care stuff. It all started with that. And just slowly, because I was vibing down here. And I knew like now that I know like all this stuff that I knew I needed to be up here. Mm-hmm. So that was just part of my story. Like right after my divorce happened, I hit rock bottom, and then it slowly started going into the whole spiritual awakening stuff. And then I would say in the past like year and a half, especially this year, it's been full blown, all into it.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I want to circle back because
sorry, that was fast.
No, it's not. It's fine. I'm just getting complete like zings down my spine.
I'm sorry.
Don't say sorry. This is the magic. This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The moments, those moments when time stops, and I call them moments with God. Like I call them, like I've had a couple where time stopped. Everything was just high definition, whether I was in my body or not. I've had a few different ones, but tell me a little bit more about that, because especially since you haven't talked about it lots, I'd like to revisit that. What did that feel like? What do you feel was happening?
It was like, it's hard to explain. Like I could feel like I just had it in my head. I was such in a dark space, and I didn't realize how dark it was. I was numb. Just I wasn't me. I wasn't anyone. I was living for my kids pretty much. That's the only reason I got out of bed half the time. In the beginning there. But that feeling, that moment was just like, I don't even know what stopped me. Like I just stopped. Everyone else is walking ahead of me. I knew my kids were there, and I just stopped, and I was just looking like deer in headlights at these traffics coming like past me. Yeah. And like, I just saw myself. I don't know if I was out of body or what was going on, but I just saw myself take that step over that white line, and bam, just ended it all. And then you
saw that reality happen.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I remember like just coming to like a what the hell was that? Like, and my kids, like I almost started like bawling my eyes out on the side of the road, because I'm like, my children are right there. Like, yeah. So like, I've only told this to like a few people, but I wanted to share this with you because like, it's just showing that sometimes you have to hit that rock bottom to catapult you up to the good stuff.
That I'd love to see if anybody here, like in the comments, has like a perspective of what that could have been, because to see that, I'm wondering if you're seeing an alternate reality or like another layer.
Maybe, right. And it's so hard to explain, but I like actually like witnessed myself doing it. And then I kind of just had like this,
yeah. Because those moments, like so I've been having a really it's been a really rough few weeks for me. Like
Yeah.
it's been wild, and a lot of the resemblances to the dark night of the soul that I went through years ago. Not in such an intense fashion, not so long. It's like just bits and pieces as old stuff
Yeah.
continues to surface, like remnants of the crap I've dealt with.
Yes.
But this week I felt there's been moments where I've been so close to that full surrender moment, because I think when you hit those rock bottom moments, that's when you find yourself just going, okay,
yes. Like, yeah,
let it go. Like whatever it is, let's go. Whatever it is, like I'm ready now. Like surrender to like what is for me. Because a lot of this, when you go through the suffering, regardless of what it's from, you're stirring up the old stuff from childhood and past lives even, but you're resisting so much of it because there's change. And there's nothing the subconscious hates more than is change.
Yeah, it's a change. Yeah.
Right. So not only are you going through the suffering, but then you're resisting.
You're like, no, I'm not going to go. Yeah. 100% know how that feels.
So that's interesting. And Celia said, I'll put it up here. I'll see if I can put it up.
I keep forgetting the comments are down here.
Yeah, that's all right. She says, I have had that with car accidents, almost like flashes. And then I will tell myself to slow down or be very present, both hands on the wheel. See, so you think about your guides.
Yeah.
You think about your angels and your ancestors and how big of an impact they have on your day-to-day life.
Especially now.
Right. And especially now. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. But I don't know if I can't remember if I shared this story. I think I did on the show, but I'll share it quickly. A very similar story to me is how my grandma showed up for me in a car accident. My brother and I were Canadian. We went ice fishing, as we do. And we're pulling 2 snowmobiles on a trailer. We end up hitting the ditch at like 60 miles an hour, spin out of control. I remember just waking up, seeing my brother there with me and like, oh my God, this is it. Like, that moment, everything slows down.
It's just slow motion.
I was like, okay, this is it. But I also remember, I'm like, no, I'm not done. Like I'm not done.
You're not. Yeah, I'm not giving up. This is not my time.
Right. And then we went into the ditch, like unscathed. We were good. Woke up the next morning going, okay, today's the day that I take my life back. I put the bullshit. I look at my life for what it is. I see the crap that I'm doing, and I just did it. And then I was like, first thing I'm doing, I remember drinking some coffee, going to throw my gym shoes on because my home gym was in the garage outside, detached.
Yeah.
And throw my gym shoes on. As I'm putting my second shoe on, there's a dime in the heel, and it's staring up at me.
Oh man.
And for some people, well, no big deal. It's a dime. But it's not just a dime, because for about 3 years, I think it had been over 3 years since my grandma had passed, my mom would always cry every time she found a dime, because she's like, my mom's always leaving dimes for me.
Oh.
And so I always like, okay, Mom, like I was nowhere near into this. And I was like, okay, Mom, like
you just don't get it at that time.
Been on the vino again. Like, and then anyways, sure enough, I see it and it's staring at me and it just punches me in the face. I'm like, holy shit.
You're like,
she was there. Like she was just letting me know that I was safe, but it's time to go. And I remember just going, okay, let's go. And that was the catalyst for me for change. Amongst others in that dark night. That was just the moment.
Other stuff adds to it, but that was like your moment.
That was my moment of being like, enough is enough, because you have to claim it,
Yeah, you do. It's crazy.
That's do you crazy. Have
that gave me chills.
So that was your moment.
That was my moment. And I obviously had like the whole roller coaster up and down since then. And I like didn't find the whole spirituality thing till about a year and a half later. Yeah. And that just like kind of came upon me too. But that was my moment where I'm like, you need to get your shit together. You have these beautiful children. You have this beautiful life. Why are you letting what happened? Right. You're in like victim mode pretty much. Why are you letting what happened to you control you? Why are you giving that energy to that? Like, why are you breathing into it? And
how much do you think of that is social conditioning on the divorce being so negative? How much of that do you think played a role?
I think it plays a lot, honestly. It plays a lot of it. I don't like my situation, like, yeah, it was heartbreaking, but a lot of it was more of like having your world flipped upside down.
Right.
It's
Right.
not necessarily the ending of that, like, because I know I can live without someone, you know,
Of course.
we do it. But it was more of like losing that rock that you had and like that person in your life that you've only known for 15 years. And
But was
like
there
being
all the
with
time.
someone when you were like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 15 years later, you're getting divorced from them.
Yeah.
And that was like, you just don't wrap your head around like, how can like my whole like mindset then, not now, was like, how could someone that claims to love you so much hurt you or destroy you
Right.
pretty much?
Right.
That was my like whole mindset I was in.
Right.
And after that day, I kind of like took back me, like realized, you know, I need to find me again because I haven't seen her in a long time. So that kind of like pushed me into, you know, taking care of myself and like just spending time on myself because I felt so guilty before doing it because, you know, your mom life. And so.
Well, and I'll touch on mom life too. Like I touched on this, I think on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
how much I've noticed, you know, with the age I am, you know, I know a lot of mothers, including the mother of my children and everything else. And I see the young families that we're friends with and everything. And I'm like, the mothers lose themselves the most, hands down. It's not even close.
No,
it's not even close. And I'm not saying some husbands don't, some dads don't.
Yeah. There's people out there, but the majority, it's mom.
Yeah. And that's, I think it's been hard to watch sometimes because it's like, wow, you give so much. You give everything. Not only do you birth and breastfeed and you're the one, mom's always the one when things, you know, so I gotta say, yeah. So did you find that this dark night and this like, awakening was part of you reclaiming who you were, like coming back to yourself?
100%. Because after that moment, like it was like I said, it was up and down. Obviously, no one's perfect. We don't get it right away. We still make the same mistakes and whatever. But yeah, that was my reclaiming myself. And like I always like think in my head, like me stepping in front of that car was the old me dying, pretty much. It was starting a new chapter. It was
shit. You got me all goosebumps.
Yeah, that old person just died that day. Like,
fuck.
Yeah.
That's what happened. That's the accident for me. Hands down, that's what happened.
Yeah. That version of you died. And it brought in the new chapter. You can open your new book. And like I always say to people, and I've said it like on some of my posts and stuff, you have a blank canvas after a divorce or any traumatic thing that happens to you. You have this blank canvas and you hold the brush, you hold the pencil, you hold the whatever you want it to be. And you are the creator of 100%. Your life. So you draw what you want. You can erase what you want. You take out what you want. That's how I started looking at life. And I just started looking at life as I'm not going to feed someone that hurt me my energy anymore. Like he doesn't deserve it, nor they don't deserve it. Or so you flip that mindset. And I try to tell this to women too. I'm like, and grieve after it, like cry, have a fit, be angry, but just don't stay there.
Yeah.
Lose I'm a victim. And like my other big, huge thing that I tell people is that, life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. Always. And once I adapted that with my divorce too, I look back now and I'm like, you know what? That did happen for me because 100%. I am like a much better person now. Like I actually love myself. Like I'm working on myself and just life now is, I have my struggles, but I see that if I would have stayed that person, I wouldn't be where I am now. And it would have drained me, like legit drained me after a while.
Oh yeah. Well, and you see it. I mean, there's a lot of people that stay in relationships that are just not conducive to the, and that's what they do. They continue to stay lost because of the fear of what happens next or the fear of judgment. And they stay in these. And I think you see it with the older generation, and you stay. Maybe it's fear from the church. It's pressure from society in general. But so it's funny. I want to go back to what you said, like the victim mode.
Yeah.
Because that is so easy to get caught in.
Oh my God.
And I call it, what my friend Mike in Nostalgia to call it, the pool of despair. It's easy to just wade around in the pool.
Yeah.
Because it feeds the pain body. It feeds the ego.
Exactly.
And the ego loves to be in a poor me. Look at me. Help me.
Yeah. Help me. Yeah.
Right.
Why me?
Right. And there are times where you just need to just fucking be in it. And like you said, cry,
you need to
be
sit
angry.
in it.
Absolutely. And you got to sit in it. But there's going to be a time where you got to take it back, and you got to, okay, now what?
Yeah. You have to step out of the shit.
Yeah.
As I say, and just live for yourself too. Like, don't think it's selfish to like help yourself, you know, like so many people are like, you know, I don't do this because it's selfish, or, you know, or they feel guilty for like doing something. But I like tell women all the time, I'm like, take even if it's 5 minutes a day, like do your nails, do your hair, do your makeup, even if you're not going anywhere. I like strive to try to at least do something with myself so I feel more alive. I guess is how I would explain it to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you just take those little moments to yourself, you're going to find yourself again.
Someone sent me a TikTok. I can't remember who sent it to me today. And it was a guy talking about something about like the 2-minute rule. And it's basically just to create the habit. And it was like, take 2 minutes every day to do, let's say it's reading. And all you're doing is you're saying 2 minutes. And it sounds so ridiculously small.
Right.
But every day, and he talked about one of his clients or one of his readers did it in the gym. I think he lost 150 pounds or something like that. He did 5 minutes in the gym every day for like the first few weeks, just 5 minutes. He'd go in the gym. He'd do like half a set of a workout and walk out. Right. And he did that every day. And the guys say, like, most of us would be like, what the hell what's the point of that? Well, he's creating the habit of showing up.
Yeah. You're showing up for yourself.
Just showing up. And then all of a sudden it's just easy to show up. Well, you might as well make 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know? And that's the same thing. Show up for yourself. Even if it's 5 minutes, you know, open the book, or if it's whatever it is, it doesn't matter.
Anything. Yeah. Anything that's going to like replenish you. Fill your cup a little bit. So that's where I try to tell people, if you can. And like a lot of people are like, well, I have no time. I'm like, well, if you have time to watch Netflix, or
and listen,
5 minutes off of that.
And you know what? Listen to your language. I have no time. Exactly. I have no time. I have no time. I have no time. You're right. You're absolutely right.
You are right.
You'll always make it that you have no time.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the power of the word, that they are spells. And at first they might be words, but you continue to say them, and guess what happens? Drills it right into the subconscious. And then you're just adding to the belief that you already had that you didn't have.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Wolf says sometimes you have to be selfish to be selfless. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes. And I'm like queen of pouring from an empty cup. I'm setting those boundaries though. I'm learning.
So tell me a little bit about how you went from, okay, got to be better, got to, you know, hack up my boots a bit, get on with this. And then from that, how did you fall into the spiritual side of that?
It took a while, honestly. I would say like probably the last year and a half, it finally like started clicking, and I don't even know, like, it's just stumbling across things that I'm like, normally I wouldn't watch, like even if on TikTok, it could be like even a tarot reader, or like stuff that I never was into, like just started popping up. So like after all that, I started getting like better and stuff. And, I ended up putting myself out there in the dating world for a hot minute there. Don't even get me started on that. No.
Did that hot minute end up being a hot mess?
Oh yeah. So it didn't stop there with me. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I met someone that like, and this kind of ties in with the hypnosis stuff eventually, once we get there.
Yep. Sure.
But I met someone, and it just, I wasn't at that level of, you know, probably being ready to be with someone. Like, I'm not one of those girls that just jumps into the next relationship type thing. But like we hung out, and like I instantly felt like this connection to him though. Like it's this weird connection, like unexplainable. Couldn't explain it.
Yep.
And like I was at that point where even red flags, I would run towards them. because I had that in my mind and my, mindset that I can fix people. That's a big people pleaser fix. Like now I know I can't, like they need to go through their journey. They need to learn their lessons. But at that time, that like mindset that I was in at that time, I'm like, you see the potential in someone, so you run with it. You're like, you run towards it instead of running away from it.
Right.
So I ended up pouring myself into this person, and just the more I felt like the more I did, like maybe he would like me more type thing. But it was
right. I think that's pretty common.
You get this in your head, and it's just me. And this is like the biggest thing I've been working on this past year too. It's just setting those boundaries up for myself and realizing that, everyone's on their own journey. They need to learn their own lessons. I can't, deter them from their lessons.
Right. Yeah.
To get them to where, I think they should be type thing. So that went on for like 4 months though. And we became best friends. I'm still his best friend. And I ended up getting pregnant. Yeah. 4 months into it. And that's my little boy that I have now, my 2-year-old.
Gotcha.
Out of nowhere, like that hit me. Like, where did this come from? Like to be like open about it. Like, it wasn't even like that time of month to conceive. Like, it's so weird, like just how this happened.
Oh,
and I couldn't fathom. It's I still, like, now I get it. But at the time I'm like, I have this like connection to this person. I don't know why I'm like chasing after them so much. Like, I couldn't wrap my head around it. It's just this connection. And it wasn't healthy for me at all. And I see that now. But when I got pregnant, people, obviously have their opinions on, like, you're not in a good place to, have a baby again. You already have 3 kids. I already had 3 kids with my ex-husband. And I'm like, just something in me, I was so attached to this kid already. Like,
you knew, something special, huh?
Something
very
special.
Very special. Yeah.
That's why I always say now, like, going back to the now, that he was always written in my stars. Like, I always tell him that, and he's only 2. I'm like, his name's Eli. I'm like, Eli, you've always been written in Mama's stars. Like, I just have this connection with this little boy. And if we start talking about my hypnosis stuff, I will get into the aha moment that you probably all gonna be like, holy shit. Hold on. So, but to answer your question about going into the spirituality stuff, it was about, I think I want to say it was January last year. Like, I just kept stumbling upon this stuff on TikTok, or a Reiki girl that was doing Reiki. So I'm like, I'm going to try that. Like, I don't know why I'm trying this. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to try it. So I had my session with her, and she's intuitive too. So she sent me some stuff about what she saw and heard as she was doing my Reiki. It was distance Reiki. It was COVID around that time. So I had that done, and that was mind blowing. And a lot of even that's come back in my hypnosis, the first session we had. There's pieces of that's in there. And then after that, I had a tarot reading with one of like my mentors that I love to death. Like, she's amazing. She's helped me through so much. And like, something that she said to me in one of the readings was, no matter if you're not with someone or not, like, you're not in a relationship that you want to be in with them, you got to love them anyways. You got to love them from a distance, or you just got to show them so much love anyways. And that's like my mission too. Like, I could be bitter about a bunch of shit, but I'm not going
unconditional.
to. Yeah, it's unconditional love, So that stuck with me from her. So that kind of catapulted me. I kind of dipped down that past year a little bit, but I started getting more into like having regular Reiki sessions because I felt amazing after them. I'm like, what is this? And then I would say like October of last year, I had like another kind of big tower moment in my life. And that's when I really like got into, it started going more and more, like seeing signs and synchronicities. And I'm like, why am I seeing all this stuff? Like, what is this? I'm like, I feel like someone's talking to me.
Yes.
It's just like, and like people look at you like you're nuts because they don't understand. Like, people that haven't gone through it, they have no idea like what you're going through. They're like, oh, you're psycho. But it actually started escalating more for me.
Said, no, I'm psychic. I'm not psycho.
Yeah,
you messed it up.
And then finally I came across you on TikTok, and I believe it was the 2222 meditation. And I had never meditated in my life. Like, my reading from, her name is Jordan Ashley, the tarot reader I was talking about. She said, she was trying to teach me in the video she sent me how to meditate. She's like, your guides are telling you need to meditate. And I didn't listen. I'm like, what is this?
Well, yeah.
So I stumbled across you. So I tried it and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, so I kind of got like sucked into it. And that's like kind of how I found you. And like, and I was in that like mindset now. I'm like, you find people, you know, it's not by coincidence. Nothing's coincidence. Everyone comes into your life, lessons, blessings, whatever. Everyone comes into your life for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And so that's when you came into my life. And then you were talking about your hypnosis work and it intrigued me. And I'm like, I've never heard of this. Like, I'm going to look into it. So I kind of looked at your website and I was looking through all your stuff and it took me a good like 2 weeks, I would say, before I even messaged you. To ask you about it.
So tell me about your first meditation. Like, did you have an experience that was different than anything else you've had? Like, what was it about that first meditation?
It was just where you took us. Like, I'm like, I didn't even know, like, just visualizing things. And I'm not too visual. I get like flashes. I have more of the feels, and I just felt like amazing. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just felt amazing afterwards. Like, and like just what I heard and like what I've seen, and like it just confirmed a lot of what I was going through too. And I can't even like pinpoint exactly like that one. It was kind of hazy for me, but a couple other ones that we went forward with, like in March, I believe it was, those were the ones that kind of tied in with the hypnosis too. And those are the aha, like, holy, I didn't even know I could, you know, sit with myself and do this.
Well, a lot of people don't, like, and that's why I try to keep, like, if you look at my meditations that I lead, they're not really like the standard meditations for most part. I mean, they are, but I mean, it's more of an adventure. Like, it's more like a little journey within.
You take us on a journey, and that's what I love about them.
Because
100%.
And I think it's really cool because a lot of people I find try it for the first time or have tried regular meditation and it just never resonated. So I just try to keep it, I don't know, just fresh and new and just really visualizing or try to get in touch with your senses. So I really love that. And then, so you didn't even know what hypnosis basically was when you decided to like kind of do some research.
I leaped into it. It was another one of those moments like, you know what? You're working on yourself. And I like dedicated 2022 to completely going in because like I've always, I don't know if I've like said this before, but I've always felt like I'm more. There's something more to me than I know or, you know, I can comprehend. So it's like I had this feeling of like, since I'm like dedicating, like, you know, pouring into myself this year more and going deep and finding out what that purpose is and how I can get to my highest self with it. So that's like been my journey this year. So yeah, I took a leap of faith with it. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I was like, yeah, it's happening.
So were you, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, are nervous, obviously. You're going into a group, you don't know who's who, what's what, like going into it, like, tell me a little bit about what that felt like. Can you remember like how that felt like session one going, am I gonna,
like I didn't know what to expect at all. Like I knew it was on a Zoom call and I'm like, I was kind of like not skeptical, but I'm like, how's this gonna work? And like we're in a Zoom call, we all just gonna be like laying here staring at each other. I felt extremely comfortable. Like I, without a doubt, going into that, like I didn't know what to expect, but I wasn't nervous about it. I was kind of nervous, like about the whole like process because I didn't know what I was getting into. But as far as like going into a group of people, like you know they're there, but you don't. It's like you know what I mean. They're not looking at you. You're not staring at the camera like, hey.
No, exactly. So I'll touch on that.
It's so comfortable. It's so fun. I like highly recommend it.
Awesome. So like what we do on the groups, if people, you know, you're probably wondering how it works. Well, we bring the group, which is usually about 10, and we get on the call. We kind of introduce ourselves in the first session because it's always that awkward moment. It's like, I don't know these people. I do most of the talking, as I always do. Talk too much. And then I basically just go through like what you can expect, what to feel safe, to feel like comfortable. and then all the mics are muted. Like, it's not like we're going through it, and I'm just watching everybody and I'm guiding everybody simultaneously. So it's not an interactive,
no, it's not at all. Like, I like being in there. I didn't even think like, oh, there's so-and-so watching me right now, or even you watching us. Like, it's not weird at all. Like, it's comfortable, and like going right into it, like you make it comfortable though. Like, I think it's just like your like vibe, your personality too, that helps us kind of like, and it helped like getting introduced to everyone. So we knew who was in the group. And like you said, we're on mute. No one can hear you, what you're doing. Yeah. So it's extremely comfortable. And if anyone's nervous about it, I would just have to say, don't be, because you make it comfortable. It's 100%.
Thank you. And let's touch on this, because one of the best things I've noticed with the last few groups is how tight the family has gotten. Like, you girls, like, it's crazy because I still have the chat open. So all the groups have a private interactive group where they can share stories and their experiences. And because we're all going through this awakening or different parts of our healing, and a lot of us don't have those people in our lives.
No.
When you find the soul crew and this family, like you girls coming together, it was like
amazing. Instant. Like, I knew them. Like, I've known them all my life. It was so crazy. And I love it. Like, even coming on the show, they've been pumping me up for the past 2 weeks.
They've been your biggest cheerleaders for sure.
Huge cheerleaders in that group. And it was just like a cute story really quick with them. Like, I did a TikTok where you put a bobby pin to see if your third eye is activated. It's really funny, but it's trending on TikTok. So I did it. And so I couldn't make our weekly meeting that we do that week. And so they sent me a screenshot of all of them on a Zoom call with a bobby pin on their face to make me feel comfortable and hype me up about coming on here. And Karen on there gave me the name Moss Boss.
Moss Boss, I saw that.
Yeah, she calls me Moss Boss, so that caught on now.
I love that.
But yeah, it's just a tight knit. Like, they're soul sisters now. Like, and I've never had that in my life. Like, I haven't had a lot of friends, even growing up or now. So I'm like so blessed to have each and every one of them every week, and just hearing that I'm not alone in what I'm going through. It's amazing just having that group. And like you said, like, we have our little coffee dates every week. I try to make them when I can, but I feel bad, girl, sorry. But yeah, we just like became like, it was nothing. It was just like, it's instant.
Oh, I felt it. It was like, honestly, it was instantaneous. And I'm in the group, I'm watching the group, I'm seeing and I'm just like, oh my God, was it the day after? I think you girls organized the first coffee date, and I'm like,
what? They had the Zoom all set up and coffee on Saturday. Yeah.
So that was one of the coolest things I've seen that I didn't expect. And I got to thank, I think Lil Wolf was part of my first inner child group. And I asked for feedback after it was done. And one of the things was, it would be nice to have a place to connect after, when the processing and the integration is done. Because after my sessions in the first group that I ran, I was like, does anybody have anything to say or add? And everybody's just kind of coming out of hypnosis. They're still going through.
You're kind of like,
tears are still rolling, right? It's like, I don't want to fucking talk right now. It's like, dude, give me some time. So
you're like, I need a moment.
And that's one thing about this, is every group has gotten better and better. And I've been able to, add some things and take away some things. And the groups, the private groups, has been one of the most, one of the most gratifying things for me to see too, is like, wow, now there's this little family.
You brought these girls together. Yeah, it's cool. They're like little soul sisters. I love them.
Okay, so you were part of the past life group, not the inner child group. So care to share a few of your experiences, or what that was like?
My first one was actually my biggest one, which is odd because like, it took, like, when you first started the whole hypnosis, like, obviously I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect.
Sure.
My mind was fighting it majorly. But once we got into it, I finally surrendered to it, and I started seeing like a movie in front of me.
Yep.
But it was also flashes of it. So it kept going in and out. I like heard stuff. I heard names, recognized people. And that was my biggest one in that one. So when you took us in there, like, it started off with a little girl with like dark curly hair running through, like, picture like a field with tall grass. sun shining. It was amazing. I felt amazing, like running through the grass, this little girl. Yeah. And that kind of goes back to my Reiki session with Jenna, because she said that she saw a picture of she saw in her head a little girl running through a field.
I love it.
Of grass, and the sun just beating on her face. So I'm like, after I got out of hypnosis with you that day, I was journaling all my stuff that I saw. And I'm like, I went back to her email, like to check. I'm like, I heard that before. Like I've been there. So that kind of like was like one of the moments. So then when I was under with you, the hypnosis, it went into, it was like I was still a child, but it was a man like screaming at a woman, like alcoholic type man. And at first I thought I was the woman, like, 'cause you kind of get confused, but then I'm like, no, I'm the little girl. That's me. Like, I'm watching this happen. And then it flipped to that woman's funeral, which was my mother.
Oof.
Yeah. And this is the crazy part. I heard the name Ivana, and I didn't know if that's my name or my mom's name in hypnosis or in past life. But the crazy thing about that is that day before hypnosis, there was a license plate in front of me that said Ivana on it. So that was another thing. I'm like, did I really hear that? I'm like, am I making this up? And I'm like, no, I freaking heard that name during the funeral. So that was another one of my, like, whoa, what is this? And then it kind of went into, in March, you did one of your meditations that was past life. You took us to our past life. And that's where this one picked up at. Crazy.
Oh, that's so wild. That's happened a few times with clients, actually.
It took me right back to that one. So it was a woman in her 20s, just happy, like, again, like running through that field. And there was a man there, though. And it was just like, it was passionate and loving, and like, and I haven't felt that in like forever. So of course, like after hypnosis, I was like bawling my eyes out. But I instantly recognized who this was.
Who was it?
You want to know who it is?
If you don't have to share. But...
Oh, no, I will.
Yeah.
It instant recognition of that person's soul was my son's dad.
Ooh.
It was like clear as day. And obviously it's not him, because you're different people.
No,
it's just your soul. But instant recognition of that. So you took us further into it, and it turned into like kind of like a wedding type thing. And the crazy part of this is I've had that dream for the past year, like in my dreams, like I've seen that whole scenario of that wedding.
All
like
my hair is standing up right now on my legs.
Down to the exact detail of that wedding, and just being happy with this person. And it's just, it still blows my mind, like telling you the story right now. And then it went into us having a child. Okay. Just, it's the whole, like, giving birth, just like the whole loving, when you're there for your, giving birth to your child. And just, it flipped to me holding a baby, looking down at it. My husband at the time was there, loving moment. And then you had us go to the point of our death in that lifetime. And this is where it kind of got crazy, that my ending there was right at childbirth, like right after.
Oh, wow.
So when you had us zoom up to see like what we saw there, I had hemorrhaged. Like, it was, this is like plain as day, like I hemorrhaged. And the crazy thing that correlates in this lifetime with that is when I gave birth to my son, in this life, an hour after I gave birth, I hemorrhaged really bad.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had that, like, is this real? Like, how it's correlating with this life. And it's just, I think that's why he's such a miracle to me, because I get to experience him now. I'm gonna cry. I got taken away in that lifetime. I didn't get to experience my baby. Yeah. And now this lifetime, I didn't die, obviously, because I'm here. I get to experience him every day. So, sorry.
See, there's nothing I love more than the magic of this world and this existence. And oh my God, like, we can tap into so much more. And like, to know, even just knowing that story, because I don't ask really the group, like, can you tell me what happened in your past life, right? I don't really ask, because it's not my business.
No.
But for me to hear this is like, that's unbelievable. Like, to me, it's just the most gratifying thing to hear. I'm so grateful that you got to have that and go back there and heal what you needed to heal.
Yeah. And got to heal that all the,
because we do that too. Like, a lot of people think, oh, you just go experience your past lives. I'm like, no, we go do work there. Like,
you work there.
Yeah.
You work out a lot of stuff, and it's like life. I can't even explain it. It's, after the 4th session, it's just life changing. Like what you learn too, like what you learn about yourself too comes out, and what you need to work on, and stuff that you let us let go in those lives that we may have taken to this life with us.
Yeah.
That's probably like one of my favorite parts of it, other than seeing like who I was.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do a lot of work coming out of it, and it helps. Like I feel like a better human being. I'm lighter. I feel like I left the shit back in there, those lives.
Absolutely. It was something for me, because like you, when I first had my first past life experience, when was it? Yeah, it was in hypnosis school when I'm training.
Yeah.
And I always, like, I heard about past lives. I'm like, whatever. Like, I mean, I haven't experienced it before. I don't know. Like, let's just go. And I remember when we were going into class, starting to work with it and learning about them, I was so intrigued. And I remember going into my first past life. And after, not only, what really shook me was the emotion attached to it.
Yeah.
Like, and because a lot of us, when we start to have an experience of past life experience, we go, am I just making this up? Is this right? You start thinking that.
That's exactly when I came out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's not real. Come on.
No, right. But then I asked myself 2 questions, and I always ask my clients this when they struggle a little bit. A, can you deny what you felt?
No.
And it's like, not a chance.
No.
So if I'm making up a story in my head, that's easy. I can make up anything I want, but I'm not. But that emotion, that
you can't
deep,
make that up.
You can't fake that. And B, how many times have you made up a story like that? And at 99.999% of the time, I couldn't even have made that up if I tried.
No.
You know?
It's all feels like complete emotion.
It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was after the first session.
Right. So tell me a little bit about like the dots you connected and the links from this life. Like, can you remember any, like, oh my God, that's why I'm like this, or that's why that happened, or any connections to this life?
Yeah. Like, kind of like going back to like growing up. I grew up with an alcoholic father.
Yep.
And like, maybe not totally verbally abusive, but just, when you're drunk. So I witnessed that in my past life. Like I've been there, and I've experienced that, and I seem to attract that type of person in my life now. Like, yeah. So I grew up with that. So it kind of connected the dots there, that there was something there like that maybe I need to work on. I'm still kind of shifting through that, but, it was just, I don't even know like what else. Other than my son, like it finally,
well, that's huge.
Like it finally explained like why I had this deep connection with his dad too. Like we're not, obviously we're not together, and he might not be that loving man that I had in my past life, but I know now that I'm not freaking crazy, for one.
Well, especially for thinking you had that connection.
There's that soul tie, that soul connection with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
amazing.
That correlates with now. I think that's pretty much it for that one. That kind of like it's with this lifetime.
Yeah. What about we talk a lot about those. I talk a lot about the clarity that comes afterwards, the aha moments, because when we do the work, a lot of people who dive into this are like, okay, we're going to do the work, and this is where it's going to happen. And you're right, it is. We're going to do the work here. Yeah. But we're pulling layers back, right? Layers of resistance, of limiting thoughts, of old programming. Right. You're healing your inner child, you're healing your past lives. Can you tell me a little bit about your moment? Because so much of it happens after, right?
Oh yeah. Most of it, majority of it. That whole week after is when like the signs start coming in, and like I'm not too sure about that one as much. Like,
well, just either of them.
Yeah, that one specifically. The aha moments were pretty much what I already like kind of integrated into there when I was talking about it. Just realizing, like, seeing the license plate and just having that aha moment there, and like my son, like me hemorrhaging in this life, me hemorrhaging in that life, but dying. But my other one, the craziest, like, and I've shared this, I think, on my TikTok or something, but the craziest one I had was the last session with you. You took us to our higher self, which was freaking amazing. Like that, you don't even know how much that's helped me and how much I'm like implementing that now into my life right now.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to that. But we also went to another one of our past lives, and I was a famous singer. And it was amazing life. And I kept like right now, like after that, I realized why I have like so much references to like the movie A Star Is Born. It came up to me, and that came up to me in my Reiki session. She's like, there's something with A Star Is Born. So it's just kind of stuff that even happened years ago, or like a year ago to me, was an aha moment after I had the hypnosis with you. And I'm like, wait a minute, again.
Yeah.
I didn't know why it came up then. I'm like, well, I like that movie.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but the crazy part of that one was her name was Sarah. I heard that plain as day when we were in hypnosis. And then the next day I was at the mall with my children, and I was in the bathroom with my son, and the song Sarah came on in the bathroom by Jefferson Starship, I think it is. Yeah, I told you. I think I told you. It was one of my TikToks or something I tagged you in. But I was like laughing. My son's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, I'm just laughing. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Just pure alignment, right?
Yeah. I'm like, what is this? So I'm there in the bathroom just like cracking up, looking like a lunatic. But so I got my phone out and I'm like filming myself laughing, and you can hear the song in the background. And I'm like, yeah, my name was Sarah in a past life. I was a famous singer, and the song comes on. So it's been like stuff like that. And it usually comes through music for me. Any of my stuff. So that's pretty much a lot of my aha moments were those like afterwards. And like you said, it's a whole week after you just start seeing synchronicities. You can feel your guides with you like constantly. It's like crazy and amazing all at once. So
and I think that's really cool. I think that's another big part of that is the group that you have access to is the space to kind of, not vent, but express what happened and talk about the synchronicities and get some not necessarily validation, but a space where you're like really supported to express it. And then
like they see feathers or anything or they share their sign or anything in there, and we're like, you're like, go.
And I don't know if it's like that with you, but I know when I start expressing those things, more stuff flows. It's like, oh, and I forgot about this, and then this, and then this makes sense.
And like my biggest like advice is, as soon as you're done with it, journal, because like it kind of leads you a little bit. So just right when you get off your hypnosis, like sit down there, journal everything you've seen, like what you heard. Like in my first one, that was another big thing of hearing. Like when you brought us, we're still going through like the screens of like, letting go and stuff. And like, I think it was one of the ones you brought our guides in for. And all I kept hearing was, don't give up on him. And then another one I heard was, you are so loved. And I needed to hear that because like, just like growing up and just into now and like with my divorce and stuff, I kind of lost that feeling of like, I'm loved. So it's just the messages that come through from your guides after the hypnosis too. It's like, it changes you.
These states allow you to experience it in a conscious way. And the more you kind of access that space, whether it's meditation on your own, you compound it. It gets easier to be there. And because this 3D and, this world that we live in, it's easy to get in our head and, and be in this, and be in the conditioning of the rat race, the craziness. And you lose the grounding and the connection, not lose it, but it's a little more blurry. It's not as solid.
Exactly.
So when you go into these deeper states, you kind of basically bypass the conscious mind altogether. Oh my gosh. Like you have access to your whole team of call them spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors,
your higher self.
Everything. So Have you ever had experiences with your guides before that? Like, was that something that you even
Um,
kind of knew about, or?
like I didn't know it was them, I guess.
Right.
You're not like I
Right.
like constantly like I'm trying to think like how far back, but like there's times where I've like felt things and I'm
Yeah.
like, where'd that come from? Like,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
the little things in your head that you hear, I just thought were
Yeah.
my thoughts. They're not.
Yeah.
Songs that pop into my head are big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I go listen to the lyrics or and I'm like, oh my God, that's a message to me. And I know exactly
Yeah.
the line
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
trying to send you.
Yeah.
So I didn't know it at the time, but I've always had that.
Yeah. See,
Now when
yes.
yes, I had no idea. No, I was not aware
Yeah.
of that. Like I always know that we have guardian angels. Like growing up, you
Sure.
hear that,
Sure.
but
But do
I've
you,
never
mhm,
like felt them or communicated
right.
or had them communicate with me. And now it's like I said, the past year and a half since I've gone through like this awakening or starting, go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the synchronicities and the signs, like I can ask
Yeah.
my guides for a sign and I get it within like I usually say 24 hours. I give them a
Yeah.
little thing and I get it. So I can ask them a question if I'm not sure I should be doing something or
Yeah.
or a funny one recently was like I wanted to send a message to someone and I'm like him and haw. I'm like, do I do it? Do I not do it? I'm like, I need a sign. Like, and I'm all about asking them. There was a license plate in front of me that says send it. I have a picture of it.
That's what I'm
could post
talking
it on my
about.
Instagram.
Yeah, and
I take pictures of
look, most people are, if they don't understand this,
Mhm.
most people would think you're absolutely nuts, right? Like
Right?
if I talk about spirit guides, most people are like, whatever, Joey, here he goes again. But
Yeah, here he goes again
it's
talking about his stuff.
because unless you have those experiences, you can't really comprehend it. Like 4 years ago, I've been talking about spirit guides, like whatever, like
Yeah.
just no way. But it's undeniable as you tap into yourself,
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're able to access.
Once you go within.
You can access everything, like literally
Everything.
ancient knowledge and the guidance of,
Yeah.
ascended masters and everything else. But
They're there with you.
absolutely. And the more you ask, the more you set the intention to connect, the more it happens.
Yeah. I have
But
like lucid dreams now. Yeah.
oh
It's like
yeah,
it's getting like more powerful and more powerful as I'm going. Like every week there's something
yeah,
like more bigger coming. So yeah, a lot of my stuff is through song lyrics.
yeah.
And it's like it's hard to explain, but it's like Heather, pay attention. Like
Yeah, that's awesome.
listen right now. And like I shared on my TikTok too or my Instagram and I tagged you in it about the Joey thing.
Yeah,
Like I was in the car and
yeah.
we just did the meditation the night before about forgiveness and I'm
Uh-huh.
sitting there jamming out to like Concrete Blonde and the song Joey comes on and I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm like jamming out and like all of a sudden my attention just went to this line about forgiveness and it says listen, listen, listen. And I'm like, I'm listening. So that was another one is like the song's name's Joey. You just did a meditation about forgiveness and it's telling me forgiveness, listen to it, you're forgiven
Right.
type thing. So
Wow.
I've been getting a ton of stuff like that lately. I also have this like feeling on my back constantly, like right here.
Ooh.
Like someone's constantly,
Yeah.
even if I ask a question or if I'm not sure of something, I feel it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting more powerful. And like as I've been going on my journey this year, like getting my natal chart read,
Uh-huh.
finding out who I am more
Uh-huh.
and what I
Yeah.
need to work on. And a lot of it's inner child stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll probably be hitting you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk. We'll talk when the
We'll talk
time is
about
right.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
So that and just like finding my soul purpose because I've been so lost for years.
Mhm.
And like I said before, like I've always felt like I'm more. Like there's something more to me and I'm not tapping into it. And like I've had mediums tell me, you have a spiritual gift.
Yep.
And I'm
Yep.
like, I do?
I do.
Like,
Yeah. Right. Right.
And I'm discovering that now. Like I'm experiencing it and it's slowly because your mind resists everything, but I'm tapping into that and they're like,
Yeah.
your career is something to do with healing or teaching.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with the spirituality stuff. So now
Wow.
that like catapulted me into like, oh, that's why I stepped into this. This is why this stuff like magically appeared on my freaking TikTok one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm being guided and I know that now. Everything's like divinely guided.
Well, it's interesting you say the spiritual stuff because I remember at first when I've always like when things started to happen, I was like, this magic stuff is the best. Like I'm hooked. Like I don't even care about, I just need the magic. It's so good.
Yeah.
But then, so I was like, I'm about the spiritual stuff. But then I realized the more I just grow and do this work or with others, the spiritual stuff is kind of everything, because it's the labels that it gets that makes people go, oh, the woo woo or the witchy stuff or the whatever. It doesn't matter.
No.
But once you understand that, when you can get solid in your spirit, in your soul, and listening to what it's trying to show you and guide you, the physical stuff, the real life stuff gets a lot fucking better. And it starts to make sense. So, oh, he's one of those spiritual people, 100%, because it changes your whole life. It just literally
people don't
changes.
Understand that. No. They do like the society or the like social, like what they think it is, and it's not like. And people are like, "Oh, you're religious now," and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've had a lot of that. Like people are like, you're she's losing her marbles, and I'm not.
Like, I don't care. I'm claiming the crazy.
And you get to that point where you don't care what people think anymore, too. It's like you step into yourself, in your purpose.
Well, and with that, I think you probably noticed this too. People are going to come up like, what are you doing? Like, what happened? Like, you seem so happy. You seem so aligned. What's going on? Like,
you have this light about you. You're glowing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So tell me this, if someone's kind of going through it like you were, what would you recommend how do they start to kind of, maybe it's the spiritual side, or maybe it's just feeling better. Like what are your recommendations for people kind of going through it?
My number one, like to start with, like I said before, is the whole getting into self-care. And then that kind of leads you to going within yourself. For me, like the big thing was actually meditation. Finally getting into that, that helped. But like in the very beginning, when I didn't know anything about any of this stuff, it was just flipping that mindset that life's happening for you, not to you.
Yeah. It's amazing how much you can be a victim and how quick it can shift though, right? As soon as your attention and your focus turns to, okay, this has been this is the result of me thinking this way. I wonder what happens if I start focusing on the good of it.
Another thing I just thought of, like with me, is staying present. Because I am notorious for like going back to the past and like, he said this, like, or this person did this to me. And I'm realizing if I stay present, like you can't live in the past. You can visit it, but don't stay there too long. You can, think about your future, but you're not going to have that future if you don't work right here.
Right. In the now. Yeah.
In the now. You're not going to have that wonderful life. You're not going to be at your highest self if you are focused on that future too much. If you live in the now and you work on the now, that's going to be like, your future is going to be amazing.
Okay. So that's,
it's all about, like with me, especially in the beginning, it's all about flipping that mindset and just realizing as I went along that my energy is sacred too. Like who I give it to. I've set that boundary up now. Like, just an example, like going on a few dates last year. Normally those red flags would go up and I'm like chasing after them. I got you.
Red flags. What's good?
Wow. I was so proud of myself because I ended it right there. I'm like, nope, this is my energy. Like this, you're not vibing where I'm at right now. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad person. They're amazing people, but I'm starting to feel when things aren't on my level that I'm at right now. Oof. So it's, you need to vibe with people up here. And I've just noticed that I got in the mindset too, that if you surround yourself with people that are vibing down here, that's where you're going to be pulled. You're going to they pull you down. And not knowingly either. It's just who you're around.
Exactly.
So, and I just adapted now that I can feel when I'm around people that aren't vibing well with me, or, so I'm very like, I don't know if you would say I'm empathetic that way or empath. I do feel people's energies, but, so yeah, it's pretty much, if anyone's going through this, just the self-care, dive into yourself, pour into your cup.
Yeah.
And you're a better person to everyone else around you.
Yeah.
When you pour into yourself.
Right.
Your light shines. Right.
I think that's something that we've all been we got all back, backwards, is we probably can, you've watched grandma or mom or dad just constantly kids first, kids first, kids first.
Yeah.
We get it. The
We get
kids
it.
come first, but not really, because if you just took that 5 minutes in the morning or 10 minutes before you decided to pour all into the kids, and you did your breath work or your stretches or tell yourself some lovely things in the mirror.
Yep.
Mirror work's big. You already go up a notch, and you're there's more energy. It's more authentic. It's more in your center, and you're a better person, because
you're
we've
a better
all seen
person
it.
for them too. Like, people are like mom or dads too, like just pouring your children, and you're kind of like this to them. You're like, you're not showing up for them.
You're there, but you're not really showing up.
Yeah, you're not.
Exactly.
You might be causing issues.
Sure. Well, yeah.
A little bit. But if you pour into yourself first, you can pour into them even more.
It overflows, right?
Yeah, it overflows. Yeah. This abundance of you to them. Like, you're just you're a better person to everyone around you when you are, top notch.
Awesome. Okay, Moss Boss, we got two more questions. And first, what about your social media and everything that you're doing right now? Where can they find you?
They can find me. My Instagram's Heather_Linnie, LYNNIE.
We'll make sure to put it all in the description too after.
Yeah. And then my TikTok, which I spend most of my time on right now because I was called to get off my social media. That was one of my things with the hypnosis and meditation too, just to bring that up. I was guided to take a break. I was pouring myself into social media so much, and it gets toxic looking. Who liked this? Who didn't like that? Why didn't they like that? Type thing. And you get in that mentality, and it takes up so much of your time. So I was called to step away from like my Facebook, especially.
Yep.
It's Heather Moss. If anyone wants to friend me, it's fine, but I'm just not on there that much right now. My TikTok is where I'm at mostly, and that's Hot Mess Beautiful.
Hot Mess Beautiful. I love it.
Yep. So I started doing like inspiration daily, like reading oracle cards, stuff that I like been called to lately since going through the hypnosis and finding my higher self stuff, and getting trained in Reiki now. So the hypnosis leads you to find it's helped me find my purpose. I know where I'm going. Yeah.
That is everything to me. And that is
like,
why
I owe that to you. Like,
well, I appreciate that. That is why I do what I do. And I have trouble sometimes putting into the words why I do it, what I love about it the most. And it's, in the end, of course, it's healing the inner child and healing the wounds, but it's like giving you another avenue to live more truth, like more in your truth, more authentically, as cliche as it is now. But it's like, you want to live your purpose. You want to be your most badass self. Like,
exactly.
And so
it's that push you need too. Like, for me, at least, like just being lost.
Right.
And like, even now, like I still kind of, lost sometimes, but I go back to like what I heard, what I saw, what I've been experienced with everything else. And it gets me right back to where I need to be. And I'm like, I'm going. I'm here.
So anybody looking into doing the group work, what do you have to say?
Do it. 100% invest in yourself and do it. Especially like you're doing the inner child coming up. Yeah. It's amazing like what you can do for people. And I don't know if you know like how special that is. So if you are like on the fence about it, don't be like, go with your gut feeling and just jump into it. Listen to your heart. It's worth it. It's worth, it doesn't even have a price to it. It's just, it's worth it. Just what it does for you, physically, mentally, spiritually, all that rolled in one. You find your soul purpose. Like, for me, it's amazing. So just take that leap, because on the other side.
Yeah. Agreed. I can't agree more. We're always evolving, and it's just another tool to go deeper and make things happen. Like, and it happens quick, right? The change happens fast. Love it.
Fast.
Okay. So now getting to the two questions, as I always ask, the final two. Obviously, the show is about vulnerability. You've showed a lot of that tonight. Is there anything else that you may not have shared with, friends or family or your audience before? Something else where you can show a little more vulnerability, kind of that way?
That's a tough one. Yeah, especially like the whole car thing.
Right. And I think that's a big one already. So if you don't have one, I think we can take that one.
I would take that one because I don't think there's any, like, I'm trying to like rack my brain here.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that would be my biggest one.
Okay.
That I've never like, I think I've shared that with like one other person. So
that's
the big one.
If you're just joining us now and you haven't been here, make sure to go watch the replay and and see what Heather was talking about, her experience with the car and her dark night of the soul. And it was absolutely massive. Last question. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to be alive for you, to be truly alive? What does that mean for you?
It's a good question too. I would say to feel, just feel every beat of your heart. Mm-hmm. Like I stick my hand on my chest and I look back to what, my heart has been broken and I know it's been put back. So being alive for me is just like feeling every single beat, knowing that I got through that bad stuff. I put my heart back together. It's back in my heart space now. Just feeling that heartbeat and just feeling the breath coming in and out of me. Yeah. That is for me what it's like to be alive. Oof. If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's pure presence. It's
pure presence.
Being in the now, right?
It's gratitude.
Yeah.
Just being thankful that every day I get up and I get to experience my children, and just that's what they light me up pretty much.
Thank you so much, Moss Boss. I'm calling you Moss Boss from now on. I think it's got to stick. Yeah. It's a hot mess, beautiful Moss Boss. Moss Boss. That was so much fun. So effortless to talk to you and so nice to hear your story and from your grinding it out and your dark night and your accomplishments since and where you're at now. And that's what this is all about for me is that's good. Seeing people thrive, right? Mm-hmm. How good is that?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
That's what you live for. You want to see people.
I do live for it. Absolutely. So thank you. I want to just thank everybody for being here almost every week now. You. And we're taking a little break over the summer, but we're going to come back bigger, better, brighter, more energy, more amazing guests like we've had already. I want to thank all my guests that have been on 17 episodes already, which is pretty wild. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank you, Heather. Thank you everyone for checking this out, hanging out, commenting, all that magic. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you in the fall.
Yeah.
But we'll also see you on Sunday nights and in the groups if you're coming.
Meditation.
Meditation. All that stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Heather, just hang out, and as we end the broadcast, I'll talk to you in the back there. Awesome. See you, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.